Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad that you could keep our appointment. Tonight, my guest and I, Marissa Black, will discuss the virtues of living a diverse life. Now, we want you to take note as we attempt to show how putting everything in one basket or box, albeit mindset, ideology, religion, relationships, career choices, etc., can stifle progress and limit opportunities for lasting happiness and success. Now, while diversifying your life can provide plan B options in tumultuous or uncertain times, that's what we want to encourage you to do. So we're glad that you could tune in tonight, and we hope that you will join in with this discussion as I present and welcome my guest and my long-term friend for quite a long time, even though we haven't seen each other in person, Marissa Black. Hi,
Hello.
Marissa. Welcome. I'm having a little. I gotta make this music sound a little bit. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Here we go. My music was down a little low. Thank you and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. And like I told you, okay, if the music, we have to just kind of rock a little bit.
Act like I got some rhythm.
You cannot be a Pisces and not have rhythm. Out there you go. Come on now. You got to peace and love to all the kinfolk that are signing in. I want you to press that like, press that share. Give us a thumbs up, share, and if you have not subscribed to the official House of Reawakening Minds channel, there's your chance to do that right now. Come on, tell somebody that Dr. G is in the house along with her special guest, Marissa Black.
Yes.
And we're going to have a conversation and let y'all listen to it. All right. Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G, and welcome to each and every one of you for tuning in today. First of all, I'm going to be honest. I'm very transparent. And so I'm going to say this. I was going to do the show all by myself, right? And then, my most high in me said to me, call Marissa. And so, and have her participate. And I'm so glad that you were gracious on a short notice and to accommodate me and come on the show. But I think we will be together able to give out the information that, I was moved to talk about anyway. It's always good to have more than one perspective when it comes to a subject matter. And this one is no exception. And what I was thinking in terms of the fact, first of all, we are both Pisces, right? Yes. So as Pisces, and there might be some Pisceans out there listening, you all know that we are mystical, magical people. We have a lot going on with us.
As you can see.
Yes, look, and this is my background, my green screen background. But when those who watch on Fridays and see Grand Chic, then you actually see my office and you see all my books and everything that's there. So yeah, we are proverbial perpetual learners, and seekers. Is that a good term? Would you call yourself a seeker?
Absolutely.
Right. But before we get any further, can you do me a favor? Because I didn't really read your bio. I just said, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Now, I met you, I'm thinking about almost 20 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And you were a cosmetologist, and we connected back then. And then, you had a vision, and eventually you relocated, and then eventually you came back to this area. But tell us a little bit about you before we get into what we want to talk about. Tell us about Marissa.
Well, for starters, we met first when I was working at the first salon that I worked at, and I was working with Jihad. I don't know if you remember the barber,
I
Jihad. He was a barber, but he invited me to the House of Reawakening Minds.
okay.
And that was the first time that we met. And then we
Well, then it
started.
wouldn't have been 20 years if he invited you there, because it would have been more like 10 years ago. Yeah, like more like 10. Okay. I don't know why I'm done. So it was, you know what it was? That's what, because I was thinking I didn't have locks, but I wore locks. I thought it was pre-locks, but I wore locks from 2002 to about 2008 or 9, cut the locks out. That's when you did my hair between, when I came out of the locks. Correction. All right. So Jihad brought you to the House of Reawakening Minds. And that was when we were just getting started. I was transitioning.
And your story moved me. I was inspired because I was at the same stage, even though I was a hairstylist and I was doing hair. I've been on a spiritual journey for quite some time. And I always had questions. You know, I grew up, you know, in church. I went to church, and a lot didn't resonate. A lot didn't really make sense to me. So I always looked into a lot of different information, and through it, I found myself on a self-mastery journey.
Okay.
And through that, you know, I applied it into my career, and I've been able to help and inspire other people that I've met on my journey. So, you know, I'm just evolving and growing and doing the best that I can with what I have to work with, and just learning every day and sharing what I learned with those who I come into contact with, who, you know, are also seekers of truth.
You know, one of the things I've been observing you, like, at least since you've been back, and then you've been more visible on Facebook over the last couple years. And some of the folks that I thought, you know, even ask you questions even before, a few questions before we went live, that I thought you were like maybe intimately connected with, I found out in our conversation, no, these are just people that inspire you. And so you kind of put them to the forefront. And it brings me to mind of myself, because I've always seen myself as sort of a connector. Like, or I would, when I was pastoring, I called myself a conduit, and a connector, conduit are the same thing. Like, lots of things kind of run through, go through us, and they're not necessarily for us all the time, but it may be for us to pass on to someone else. And any other Pisces probably listening, or, you know, not necessarily Pisces, this isn't a Pisces show. Although 2 days from now will be your solar return. So yes. So we're wishing you in advance a happy, fabulous solar return. But anyway, we seem to attract a lot of people. I do. I don't know about you. What has been your experience?
I've attracted a lot of people, mainly through doing hair. Behind the chair, I've been able to connect with a lot of people and hear a lot of stories, and, you know, connect a lot of dots from the things that I've learned just from studying. I've been able to apply it in life, you know, from the conversations that I've had with people. And you asked me earlier, you know, what Black stood for, because it's not actually my last name. It's an acronym for Beautiful Looks Always Created Kindly. And that was created from my experience in the beauty industry. And, you know, just hearing different stories from the people that I connected with, that came to me a lot of times really looking for healing and didn't know it. And that's how I discovered my healing abilities. So.
Well, Pisces, I know as a Pisces, I myself have always, people gravitate to me that have situations that they would like to, you know, kind of pour out on you. And Pisces, we have to be careful, because we are, most of us are intuitives, and we have the ability, and we're empaths, and we take on the energies and the feelings of other people. Now, anyone absolutely who works with people like that closely, hair stylists, barbers, cosmetologists, massage therapists, anyone who's touching and very in close contact with people are mixing energies. And if if you don't know how to control those energies, a lot of times you will find yourself carrying on energetic situations that you think are yours, and they're not yours. They're the, we have to learn how to clear ourselves, to cover ourselves, to be able to ground ourselves in such a way that when we finish doing what we're doing, we've cut the cords and of all of that energetic, because we have all these, multiple bodies that we're dealing with. And a lot of times, when you have that magnetic attraction, like some folk do, you're going along your way and you're shaking hands with this, and you're in this person's hair, and you're doing all this, and then all of a sudden you are feeling their issues and you don't know where they came from. Have you ever experienced that, especially if you worked with,
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for so beautifully saying that, because I have not actually had this conversation, with someone that actually understood what that's like.
Right.
So, through my journey, as I started becoming more awakened spiritually, I noticed that I had less desire to do hair because I didn't know why I would feel certain things that, I knew wasn't necessarily me. It did stuff that didn't belong to me,
Right. Right.
Whether it was mentally or emotionally. I even had an experience one time when I was serving a client, and I was over her crown, and she was like dealing with anxiety, and it transferred to me during the service, where my hands just started like shaking really bad while I was actually in her head, and that had never happened before, so it scared me. And I stepped away and stepped outside and excused myself to go get some fresh air, because I was concerned, like, what happened? I didn't have any caffeine or anything that day that would have explained or make sense to me why I was experiencing that. But like I said, I stepped away and got myself together, and I was fine. And I went back to her, and it started again. So I knew then for sure that it wasn't me.
Right.
And I actually contacted a good friend of mine that you may know, Wise Shabazz, and asked him, because I knew that he was more familiar with energy work and things of the sort. So he gave me some good advice on grounding my energy and a better understanding of what may have transpired. And from there, I started doing some research and learning different techniques to kind of help me to stay grounded. And that's when I got into more like meditation and yoga and screening better, because I'm not supposed to serve everyone that close.
Well, you know what? It's interesting because one of the things that I do, and one of the things that we're going to talk about is like all the different things that we do. And a lot of my audience knows that Dr. G, they'll hear me talking about this, and then they might hear me talking about that. And I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes people will take us as flaky. I don't know if any Pisces out there that's listening, if you are more like a typical Pisces, then your interests are diverse. You are not, interested in one thing or one ideology. You are a seeker. You'll try most things, and if it doesn't work, you'll go on to the next thing, but you never say that you didn't try. But people sometimes will view you as being, not you, but view us as being flitty, flighty, flaky. Like, what now? What's she up to now? What's she into now? I don't know if you've had that experience, but I have people, thinking that first of all, they thought I lost my mind when I stopped being a pastor. That was the big, like, how should she do that? And I had a spiritual experience that took me to another level. And so I had to act on my own inclinations and so forth. And that was my next phase. My next phase, to me, up was out. You know what I mean? So for me to go up, I had to get out. And that's what I'm saying. So many people have themselves, if whatever they grow up in, be it religion or, habits or customs and whatever the family says or whatever the neighborhood's about, they stay right there. And so that, hence, while we're talking, the reason why I named this, never put all your eggs in one basket. And I show a basket on the picture with, eggs all smashed, because if you drop the basket and that's all you got, it's all in that one basket, then you may lose everything you have.
Yes.
I'm always a person that has something in my back pocket. And if you're a typical Pisces, and I know you are, and some of you out there, and I said this to you earlier, we come here with a suitcase, if you will, loaded with gifts. And a lot of times we let people and situations make us, keep things in the box that need to come out the box or out the basket and see the light of day. Have you had that experience with stifling or sitting on, things because, you get ideas or you get things and then you go, I can't, because they're going to think I'm crazy?
Most definitely. I've had that experience, and that's one of the things that actually pushed me more to I would say self-mastery, but self-awareness. Just trying to figure out who I was and what it is that I'm here to do. And it also pushed me more into being an introvert, because I didn't like the fact that, I would open up to people and share with them, my ideas and, the different things that came to me that I had a desire to do, and they didn't understand it. And they're like, girl, you all over the place. Make up your mind. What you going to do?
Right.
And, I'm just like, well, I want to do this, and, I want to learn more about this too. And I don't see anything wrong with that. So it's actually benefited me, because I'm more relatable, to a lot of people. I can have a conversation with just about anybody, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have that experience. So I've most definitely experienced that.
Well, yeah. So, with me, no longer being, in that role as a pastor, you never forget what you learn, and you never forget what you experience, and you'll never forget the experiences that to you were real. Those things still have value and merit in my life. It's just that if I stay there are so many other things that I have gone on to experience, and yet I know there are other things still coming that if I had stayed in that basket, that box, so to speak, would never ever, I wouldn't be here on doing a live broadcast talking to people all over the world, sometimes, having issues because I'm having a bad hair day or something like that. But I'm at the point where I gotta come. Like, I don't want to say the show must go on, because it's never for really a show for me. It is my opportunity to come and hopefully deposit something of value into someone. If it's 100 folk on the live, or whether that's 1,000, if one person, if like you said, if this is for one person, then hey, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm never concerned about the numbers or so forth. And it was interesting. I had a business launch on Sunday, a private business launch, and Grand Chic had his class on Friday. And I said, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to mention that I'm having this launch on Sunday. And if anybody wants to come, just text, invite to my number. I posted. And I want to say that, I don't know how many, I sent the invite out, like, I want to say to a lot of people 3 times. And the reason why I did it 3 times, because I found out that they weren't going through. And so and then I had to ask the question on Saturday, how do you verify your messages are going through? Turns out I had my phone on Wi-Fi, and my Samsung phone said you have to have it on, you have to take it off of Wi-Fi to be on the T-Mobile network. And then you could do sort of like, you'll get delivery confirmation. So this was like the second time I had sent messages out, and one person said, I never got it. So I figured if they didn't get it, maybe nobody got it. So here we go. round 3. Now I'm sending it out and I'm getting back confirmations that they were delivered, right? And when it was all said and done, there were about 100 people on the live, and I was amazed. But here's the thing that got me, and sister, please forgive me if, because I don't remember. I don't want to say her last part of her last name was Miller. I do know that. And she came on to ask the presenter, the host, Megan, a question, and she wanted clarification. But here's what she said that got me. She said, when Dr. G, she said, I'm on here because Dr. G invited me and us. And when Dr. G says something, we listen and we follow what she says. And I was, I wasn't on camera, but I was sitting here like, ooh, I went like, oh my goodness, because you don't know, what kind of impact that you may be having on people. And then it makes it all the more, wow, now I'm getting a little teary. So now it makes it all the more important that that the integrity is there, that, that you've done your due diligence, about some stuff sometimes, because I got people counting on me and looking to me to tell them the truth, tell them something that's going to help them. And so I put myself out there as, the test subject on a lot of things. And I don't bring everything to everybody. You know what I mean? Because, when I get the inkling that that's not good, or if I get burnt a little bit, I want to get burnt before I have other people getting burnt with me. You see what I mean? But just a mere fact that this sister said, when Dr. G puts out a call or tells us such and such, we heed the call. And
that's a beautiful thing.
And I was, like I said, I'm on this, it's a Zoom meeting, and I was like in here crying, like, oh my goodness, that was so. But you want to be that kind of person for people. You want to be, so, and I don't think for the most part, when the people really know who you are, they don't see you as flaky. It's folks like family, so-called family, with kinfolk, we call them kinfolk, people that knew us way back when, can't fathom that, 45 years later, we still thriving and kicking and doing all this stuff. And they're like sitting in front of the television, believe in the MSM, they don't believe that anyone can be that happy or that successful or whatever. It's got no, and those are the people that normally love you too. But those are the people that normally, will be down on you because they're down, I think, on themselves.
Yes, that's really what it is. They're projecting, what they're dealing with. And that's why I started telling you, thank you, because, what you're doing is groundbreaking, especially within this region, from my perspective. This work it's appreciated by those that is appreciated, by people that are looking for it, but majority aren't, that's the reality. So, but the people that are serious about wanting to know truth and be in alignment with truth appreciate, and I'm one of those people. Like, I appreciate you from, like I said, the first time I met you, and for us to reconnect now and to see how much you've done and how far you've come. Like I said, you were transitioning from a pastor and, coming to your church, and then, seeing it become the House of Reawakening Minds, and now you're online, and, I love it. I appreciate it. You inspire me, and yeah, I'm one of those people.
Well, but here, see, we have a mutual admiration, because I've been watching you, and like I said, I kind of thought, and I was under the impression that a lot of the people that, I always see, you have the Black experience and some other things, and you're always promoting, and, you have the Black card and different services that you provide. And I thought all these people, I was like, well, Marissa is connected to this one and that one and that, but you're just promoting,
some of them I am. Some of them I am. I just, don't necessarily talk about it publicly because of, like the situation you said with Grandmaster Jay. We actually in touch, but with his situation, we don't talk about that publicly because he's still dealing with,
Right, right,
what he's going
right.
through.
Well, I mean, but it's the fact of the matter is though, when and I do it sometimes. I mean, like if it's somebody, like I'll push somebody's book, simply because
Mhm.
I read it. They're not on the show. I'm not. Yeah. Oh, is that my
It
book?
is.
I
It is.
hope I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, but I'll do that, or something I like. Or I remember one day going to a brand new seafood restaurant that opened up over on Market Street around 19th and Market, and there were these
Mhm.
brothers, and they used to, I guess formerly they were, slinging and doing what they were, but they decided to take their funds and put it into a legitimate business. They did a seafood, like it was called like Down Under the Sea or something. And Sister Tamara and I went, and I was so impressed by these brothers. I did a live. I did a live
Mhm.
right there at the store, and I was promoting them. I did it online and everything. Within, I want to say, a month or two, the city came down on them because the building wasn't exactly as they, wanted to be, and they shut down to do the repairs, and they never opened again. You know what I mean? And I
Mm.
mean, I was on there. I'm telling everybody, come and it was, it was good food and all that stuff. I've since found out that I'm allergic to seafood. so, so, but anywho, at the time, it was like I said, I didn't know them, but I knew I was impressed by what they were doing. You know what I mean? And I'm a promoter. But
Mhm.
tell me what you have an organization called Dope Dealers.
Mhm.
And I know that they're not dope dealers, but does dope stand for something?
It does. It has multiple meanings, but the main one is delivering optimistic, prophetic evolution. And that came to me, one day because I noticed with music, and entertainment. I remember you had a show you did with, I think, Red Pill, where you
Uh-huh.
had this discussion about, with music and how a lot of times we manifest, you know, through music and don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love hip hop, the culture. I love it. And I've listened over the years of different, types of music, and with the violence and the drugs and the stuff that comes with it, that a lot of people don't realize, not only when they're listening to it, but also when they're making the music, how those experiences are being manifested into their lives eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like I told you with Black, transmuting the energy and trying to take a negative and turn it into a positive, I wanted to do that with dope, because when you hear dope, it has different meanings. Some people think of it as, oh, that's a great thing. Like, I like that. That's official. That's dope. But then there's also the dope from on the streets, that people
Right,
get
right.
strung out on and stuff. So with that, I wanted to take, the negative meaning and turn it into something more positive. And that's where, you know, I like
Now,
to.
are they business? Are they people? Are these entertainers that are involved, or or business owners, or who? I mean, because you promote.
It's a community that
Oh,
I'm building, and it's pretty much artists, speakers, people that are motivators, people who inspire other people, through the things that they've learned through their experiences. They may have had, you know, challenging, their challenges that many of us have seen and had, from the culture. And, they're now turning that into, something positive, and just, letting the young people coming up, the youth, know that, that's not what you want. That's not the lane that you want to take. So they're, empowering people through their experiences. Well, we're empowering people through our experiences, and it's just a community. And then um, another person, that I've added to the community, Rizza Islam. Are you familiar with him? He's someone that's really big when it comes to educating us on, vaccines and the dangers of that. So, through the whole COVID situation, um, he showed up on my radar, and he's not someone that I know personally, but I respect his work. I
mhm.
appreciate his work a great deal. He actually wrote a book that's a message to the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all about, what we spoke about briefly earlier, the toxins and the chemicals and the different things that are, in the food and, and the drugs and all that type of stuff. Just making people more aware of, that information so that they can make better decisions, for their health and their well-being, their lifestyle, like the things that people are being exposed to, they have no idea about.
Today the books like the Eat to Live and all of that, those, it didn't have as much of a meaning and an impact, I'll be honest, to years and years ago when those books came out. That's the Muslims, but when you think in terms of what has happened, and I know we can't say certain things, but what has happened with the GMOs and the everything that has happened with unreal foods being put out there and so forth, and unreal other things being put out there and introduced into the body. It is very, very important that we, have clean water. I was telling you, like for instance, I'm almost finished this bottle for today, but I got all kinds of words, on there, abundance and all that. But what I'm drinking is water with shungite in it. Mm-hmm. And I was telling you about, I got positive words, and then I got shungite, which purifies the water and then does a whole bunch of other things, for you health-wise. We've got to become very, very proactive with regards to our health. We do need to go back to learning to basics, learning how to, a lot of people are now growing their own fruits and vegetables mainly indoors, because when you think in terms of things coming out of the sky, things that they spray and all that, Absolutely. Even if you grow it yourself, you have no, unless you have a greenhouse, you have no protection for those things that you're growing, that they're not being contaminated and so forth. And so what we put in our bodies, as far as water, what we put in our mind and what we put in our spirit,
Absolutely,
all of those things are important. And so one of the things I try to do with this broadcast is to bring information to the audience, to you, the audience, that is going to create in you it's going to stir up the gifts. It's going to stir up knowledge. It's going to lead you to go off and research. Because you can never give, all of the information in a 2-hour segment that one needs to know, but you can spark interest in certain Absolutely. Things. So you and I are the kinds of people that study, grab books. And even if I don't read all the books, I'm gleaming and I'm getting things. I mean, I'm an energy worker. I had a brother I spoke to maybe a week or a few days, maybe not quite a week ago. And I didn't speak to him. I think he texted me, and his son has had emergency brain surgery. And he reached out to me. I'm not a doctor of medicine. I'm a doctor of theology, but I told him, I said, well, let me do distant Reiki. And I didn't do it immediately, but I was moved in my spirit a few days ago at 3 something in the morning to get out my proxy bear and to bring out the information on the young man and to perform Reiki, distant Reiki on him. I don't know where he is. It doesn't matter, because I just had to set the intention that this was on his behalf. And so I don't know what his situation is, but I'm like, here I am, like, here's somebody counting on me. Can you help? And I mean, it's the same. It's as strong as prayer. If you pray, even though, I walked away from mainstream religion, I know the power of prayer
Absolutely.
and intention. That doesn't change. These are things that have not changed. And so even though, and it's funny, and every time I post something that might have a religious connotation where I'm trying to straighten something out, I noticed that my friend list count goes down. So I was like, okay, I know who I know who unfriended me because I stepped on their toes, right? But it's just that, here I'm out here trying to help. I'm out here. I'm unpacking my gifts, and if I unpack them, then it's got to go to somebody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I'm listening. I just want to see, and a lot of people are like that, and so for me, one of the main things that not one of the main things, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was why I have so many opportunities that I've been popping up, you know. And for me, to depend on one thing is like putting all my eggs in one basket.
It
And
is.
so every time I find something that doesn't necessarily conflict with the other things, I think what's crazy is if you have counteractive things that you're bringing, like counterproductive, like this one's telling you to go this way and this saying to go that way. Well, no, that's confusion. But I
Exactly.
deal with, it was Grand Chic for years and years and years would tell us every time he came to House of Reawakening Minds, you need to take that your fiat, because I didn't even know what fiat was. Okay, whatever he's talking about, you need to turn that fiat into silver. I was like, I don't know what for. He said it for years and years and years, and then I couldn't fit. Then I went one time about 3 years ago, and I went to a place that had a coin shop up at Booth Corners. And I bought at the farmer's market, there was a coin guy there.
Okay.
And I bought one coin for like 65 notes. And I was like, I can't do this. I don't even know what coins to get. And then this opportunity presented itself years after Grand Chic had been saying this. And it was like just the right timing.
Timing is everything.
Right timing. And something in me said, you can do this. And then something else in me said, but you might be too successful. This is the crazy part. You might make so much money that you have to, you'll get in trouble with the Social Security people. Just being honest with you. And I didn't know what, I knew that there was a certain point that you got to, and then you had to pay something back. And it comes to find out that when you go over a certain dollar amount is $1 for every $2 you go over. And then it hit me. And I said to myself, why would I worry about this little, piece of, 20,000 and give up making 100?
I'm so glad you said that.
Well, yeah, and that was my mindset. Yeah, hell yeah, I may be too successful. And guess what? I have been successful, because what you think about, I mean, I made 100, but what I did though is I on tap this month to hit the very top of this company in 10 months. You know what I mean? So the thing I'm saying is that timing was everything. But I didn't stop there though. I didn't say, I got this silver thing going, because, eventually silver might end up getting so expensive that nobody can purchase it. Right now, people can. But I saw other things that were in different areas. So the first thing I think I saw was something called limbic arc. And limbic arc I was introduced to it, and it was a gentleman called me up from California, and I was sitting in my car with Grand Chic, and he says to me, he explained it to me about this company and this opportunity, and he says, "Do you have any pain anywhere?" And I'm wearing a phone, and I said, "Well, yeah, my back hurts." I started moving around in my seat, and he said, "Well, I want you got any water?" And I had a bottle of water in the little cup holder. He says, "Okay, I'm going to send you a pain relief." I said, "You got pain relief, pain relief." I said, "You're going to send me pain relief? I mean, when are you going to send it, and how am I going to get it? Like, you sending me a bottle of pills or something?" He said, "No, drink." He said, "Drink some water when I tell you." And then he asked me, we kept on talking. About 10 minutes later, he says, "How do you feel?" And I'm not sure how I felt, because, it's like, what do you mean how I feel? But then I realized that the pain had subsided a bit. And as we continued to talk, the pain subsided even more. I find out about this quantum technology that's on my regular cell phone now, that I can send myself vitamins, minerals, different pain relief formulas, or I have one running right now, one I call Great Prosperity. I have one about weight loss, and y'all, that remains to be seen whether or not it's working. And then I have one on like vitality, because I want to stay vital. But I run those, so I run those for 14 days. I've been running these things probably since about October. Yes, maybe September, October. And I have had a tremendous success. I don't have to take all these minerals and pills and stuff. I got them on here. So I get them in the cloud. And most people, that would blow their mind. What do you mean get in the cloud? That everything is connected.
Energy.
In the quantum, that's called quantum entanglement. And everything, absolutely everything is connected. And so
it's all energy.
Actually, absolutely. And so when you get that, when you believe that that's what it is, then you can access what is in the quantum field. Well, we didn't stop there. Then the same guy found out about something else. I'm like, what you bringing me now? This is it. But then he introduced me to the next level, which was the AO scan. And the AO scan is proven to be like the most, monumental, it doesn't heal, it doesn't diagnose, it doesn't do any of those things like that. But energetically, it does blood and urinalysis, it does comprehensive like MRI type things. And all I do is right here on this thing right here. I pull up I could do a blood test on myself in like 2 minutes. Blood and urinalysis. I can send frequencies to myself if my legs are swollen. I can send energetic frequencies under edema and watch my legs go down, or my head for migraine headaches, or whatever's going on. And so that was another level of diversity. I almost passed it by because I got the limbic arc, but this was like next level stuff. You know what I mean? And so it went from there to, and most recently, and I've done some other things in between that like I said, don't bring everything to everybody, because then you realize like, okay, that wasn't a hit. That one was a miss,
exactly.
And you take it on the chin, but you don't pull anybody else into that stuff. And so the latest thing that I introduced to, the community was Extreme FX Academy. And I'm thoroughly excited about that because everything is diverse. And let me tell you something that happened the other day that just blew my mind. I got a phone call from someone, and he said he had signed up for Extreme FX Academy, but he needed some more. He had moved some Bitcoin and USD dollars into his account, but he needed to know, something else next. So I called him back. He didn't answer the phone. About 5 minutes later, he calls me back. We end up talking. Turns out, now this blew my mind. Brother's in California, Khalifa territory. What? He's in California. He's in prison. He's been there 14 years. He's 32. Wow. He has Bitcoin. Some of you out here don't have Bitcoin. And he has Bitcoin. And he's been incarcerated since I think he was 18, because he's 32. People have called me like, I don't know how to do XYZ. This brother's got a hidden phone in his cell, and he's transacted business because he saw the value in this. I was like, my goodness. I was like, well, he's talking to me, and I was like, well, they let you have phones? Well, no, but I know when I can talk and not. I said, but you're talking loud. He's like, I'm in my cell. I said, but you're talking. I said, I don't want you. When are you getting out? He said, maybe in the next few months. I said, well, don't get in trouble over this. But he said, no, I know when to talk, when I can use the phone and when not. But it just amazed me that this brother saw value. First of all, that he even saw the show. Right.
Oh no, they yeah.
He saw the show. He
had access.
He had access, and then he signed up because he already had Bitcoin and he had USD, and he put his funds over there, and he's done it. A lot of people have signed up, but they haven't paid for their subscription. He did it, and he's in prison. Wow. Here he is now. I don't know what he has in the when it comes to Bitcoin, but apparently he's been doing some things since he's been in there. So that when he comes out, whatever took him in, hopefully won't take him back.
I mean, it sounds like he got his mind in the right place. So that's the first step right there,
Absolutely. And so to me, that was encouraging, because, I'm saying if this brother is behind bars and been behind bars for 14 years can do that, then anybody out here
Don't have no excuse.
have absolutely no excuse whatsoever. And so, it's just like I said, it's diverse. So I'm like, if anybody thinks that I'm crazy because I have yet another thing, I'm not crazy, I'm diverse. And
Mm-hmm.
if this thing doesn't pan out, and I'm not talking about that, but one thing doesn't pan out, I'm not gonna say, well, now I have nothing. It's not the case with me. It's never been the case with me when it comes to being forward thinking, being progressive, and
Mm-hmm.
also being I want to call myself a humanitarian, because
That's
I believe in who we are. I believe in my people. I don't have a problem with other folks. I just have a stronger interest in my own.
we got that in common.
Right. So, like I said, I don't have problems with other people. Like, so I'm not sitting there trying to say, down with, them. I'm just saying up with us.
I'm with you. I'm
Right.
absolutely with you.
So, in terms of some of the other things that you are doing, because I feel like I am dominating the conversation. I want to hear, and I'm sure my audience would like to hear a little bit more about Marissa, and what plans you have. Like, I've watched you doing yoga online and some other things, and I have congratulated you on your form that you've worked on you and done some amazing things, I can see.
Thank you.
So tell us about some of the diverse things besides, like, what we've already talked about, that you have put in incorporated into what makes you you. And also tell us how you've been diversifying during this period of time we've been in for the last year. Apparently, they call this the 1 year anniversary of that.
Yeah.
Today is the anniversary of that thing, y'all.
It happened right before my birthday, so I know.
Well, mine too. I had a big old celebration plan. I put a $1,500 deposit on a building, and I didn't get it back.
Wow. That
I'm
hurts.
seriously. They told me, they said, we'll hold it for a year. Well, a year later, we're still in this stuff. But what
That's
about
really unfortunate. Really unfortunate.
yeah. What about you?
Well, for me, I'll say for starters, like I said, majority of my experience has been in the beauty industry. I started out focusing on natural hair, and when all the different weaves and different extension services and everything became more popular, I kind of drifted and started offering more of those services, and I started attracting a different type of clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mainly people that dealt with different type of hair loss issues. So the more I served, my community and my clients and everything, the more I started seeing a trend, with the hair loss, because I would do consultations and ask questions. I want to get to the bottom of what happened. How did we get here? And I started noticing a pattern with, as far as medication, and health plan, of the role health would play into hair loss. So it was really disheartening for me, to hear so many women primarily, with these common things. And I also I lost my grandmother, with her health challenges that she had, which inspired me to be more conscious, health wise, and more natural, when it came to my health, if I needed to do anything really. So I didn't take any type of like medicine. I just wanted to stay more on the natural side of everything, and that worked for me. So I would recommend, with my clients, we would have the conversations. I'm like, okay, well, I've looked into this, I've, tried this and it's worked for me, maybe you should consider this. And then I would get feedback that was working for them. So I found over time, I was more interested, I'll say, in health than I was the actual beauty. Like I still provided, beauty services, but I'm more of a, my email is your solution consultant. I
Right.
like solving problems.
Right.
So I like to use my brain. And with doing that, it was working out. And my clientele would grow, from word of mouth. And I was also growing as a person, as far as just knowledge of, more natural healing and health solutions. Through doing that, that, like I said, over time led me on my spiritual awakening journey. There's levels to that. And I became more interested in, different, I don't want to say different religions so much, but different, spiritual belief systems and practices that weren't necessarily in alignment with what I grew up with, in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And they worked for me better than church, to be honest. Yoga and meditation being the main two. So I became really interested in, doing that, and, being consistent with it over time helped me with my own personal issues as far as like emotional imbalance. That's something that, I struggled with for a little period of time due to my diet, hormonal imbalance that affects our emotions, of course. So yeah, just playing doctor, on myself, and, getting myself together and helping other people along the way. I found that, this is my purpose, I think, maybe. Let's see, so I invested in my library and was just doing a lot of research. I wasn't really had the time to go back to school, but that didn't stop me from studying. Mm-hmm. So through doing that, I came across, like a couple of years ago, D-Herbs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with D-Herbs, but
I heard of D-Herbs.
Yeah, I actually have a relationship with the company, and I'm, been spreading awareness of, the products and becoming more familiar with them for myself. They've been working for me. And, now I'm pretty much moving into that lane of wanting to help people to, heal and, make sure they're aware of the importance of detoxing and diet and lifestyle, but also our mental, and emotional health and well-being is important. You mentioned, the finances as far as, silver and, moving away from the fiat,
right,
all
right.
of that. So that's important. Our income or our, money affects, how we're able to live and where we're able to live and the things that we're able to do. So I found that, what, I'm interested, in, developing myself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and financially. And I think more of us should actually be paying attention to all of those areas of life. Because, with the conditioning, it's like, oh, just work, go to school, go to work, and, learn what's here in school. But there's so much more that, we don't know. And I was thinking about this earlier, the food pyramid that, we all grew up on. And I used to have asthma as a, child. And when I, went through healing that naturally, it was, removing dairy from my diet, which we have no business really, consuming. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how is this pyramid here, telling us all this stuff that we need? And then I'm finding out that, it's the complete opposite.
Absolutely.
So that triggered me to, start looking at other things, like what else have I been lied to about? So with that, it's just been a journey. I'm every day, being present and allowing the divine to lead me as to what information I need for, whatever I'm dealing with, as well as the people who are drawn to me to be able to assist them. So
yeah, that's important. And that's important. And I just sent an invite to hopefully he'll see that. Dr. Botanica. I sent him he's on the line, but I sent him an invite to see if he pops up on the show, because I think it's very important. He wrote a book called Stealing a Woman's Treasure. And he talks to me, we talk a lot, and he tells me about some different, different things in terms of, I think this particular book, because he wants to get it to me, it's about a lot of the women we know, including Henrietta Lacks. People know about her, about her cell, the immortal cells of, or life of Henrietta Lacks, and others that have perhaps died needlessly because of their not knowing, some of things that you've been learning, and so forth, and passing on to your clients. And it is more, I remember, like, the poem, if you have my book, so the poem Hair Cares, I have a part in there where I talk about the thing we thought would make us so much more. Remember that, we became victims of a chemically waged biological war. Hair. How many people, was it Chris Rock did the thing about the creamy crack and all that stuff? How many times have we, people, I don't know if you ever did hair that was unnatural, but when you put that stuff on people's head and burned the crap out of them, that stuff was going through the skin. And I have a friend, Dr. Jahai Issa. His mother transitioned as a result of brain cancer that she developed, likely, they said, because of getting perms in her head. So many of us had been taught to dislike what we look like in the natural. And so we've done all these things to make ourselves, look beautiful and so forth, at the expense of our health.
Absolutely.
And not just hair, like I said in the thing, but skin and features too. So we put stuff on our faces to be, and what burns, and it just tears me up. And I have a friend like this, the last time I saw her, she was like my complexion.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I saw her in person. And she's from Africa, and she's a prominent business owner in Philadelphia. But the last time now that I see her on Facebook, she's like 3 shades lighter than me. You know what I mean? So because they put this stuff on their faces, to lighten up their skin, and they don't know. This is like lye, bleach.
It's scary. I have a quick story. I met a client in Atlanta, and I think she came to me just for this reason. She had sister locks that were like down to her waist. And I will always ask my clients, like, what inspired you to start, your lock journey? And, she shared with me that her husband, that was deceased, had passed away, that he was a brain surgeon. And he actually got a Nobel Peace Prize, but he made the connection that, let me tell the story correctly. It's hard for me to still, even after all these years, to tell the story. Basically, he was able to tell an African American woman's X-ray from everyone else's because of the chemicals, because of the relaxers. That's a problem. On an X-ray, you're able to see.
Yeah,
that kind of, confirmed what I had already knew, but I just didn't necessarily know the scientific details behind it. But I don't want to necessarily go too deep into that. But for that to show up, on an X-ray, that's a problem, and it's always us, because we're always trying to change something about ourselves.
Well, back then, back in the day, now they're being more open to, with all this BLM and all the various things. I see Dr. Botanica has joined us. I'm gonna bring him into the stream. How you doing, Doc? I can see part of you.
Hello.
Let me see. You're muted. I think you're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Greetings. I just finished the workout.
Well, thank you for joining us. We were talking. Marissa and I were talking about health and so forth with women, and it brought to mind. I saw you were on the feed. It brought to mind your book, "Stealing a Woman's Treasure." Did you? There you go. Stealing a Woman's Treasure.
Looks interesting.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that? I diversify. When I digress a bit, but I think it's important, that we hear this.
Well, I've been specializing in women's health for quite a while, and as I travel across the country, you run into so many different sisters over time. Either they had a thyroid surgery, you can see the slit in their throat, and I would say, you had thyroid surgery or whatever. Then you would talk to women about reproductive system. Oh, I had a hysterectomy, I have a partial, I had a whole. And I mean, this is in large numbers. And so I looked at the, what's going on. I mean, it's a cash cow for the industry. And you look at the vast majority of OBGYNs are who? European male.
Come on.
Okay. So, women are not even educated in the office or the options. Like, it's either ablation, a myomectomy, complete partial hysterectomy, then finally a hysterectomy, completely castrating the sister. Okay. So I decided, I came up with the title, Stealing a Woman's Treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's whatever you're born with, you should leave here with it, whether it be tonsils, gallbladder, or whatever. There's an alternative. But again, the medical doctors function on the mechanical methodology. It is not in their academia to bring in a holistic phenomenon to help women to heal. And so, for example, this whole problem began with this estrogen dominance. First of all, with the plastic, okay? And I stated this before, when Coca-Cola would decide to go from glass to plastic, they hired Monsanto. Pepsi followed suit, hired Amoco Chemical Company.
Mm-hmm.
So all the foods and the beverages all of a sudden started going into plastic. What does plastic do? It gives off bisphenol A, which elevates estrogen or xenoestrogens. Now, Dr. John Lee, way ahead of his time back in the 70s, was talking about xenoestrogen. He was, matter of fact, one of the first medical doctors to attempt to educate the public on xenoestrogens.
Mm-hmm.
From everything from shampoos, conditioners, getting the nails done. And it's just amazing. And next thing you know, you see a lot of sisters in their 20s developing fibroids, golf ball size fibroids. I mean, I have pictures even in my book. And if women see what actually manifests from the lack of knowledge, and just making a transition, to a natural shampoo. There are natural fingernail polishes, that don't contain formaldehyde.
Mm-hmm.
The plastic and all the things. As a matter of fact, it was a group of European women, and that came out with an article that revealed that the petrochemical companies were literally putting in byproducts into the products that our women use.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, that is a very sophisticated database, which they use the Nielsen's, okay, to find this data. And so these chemicals are actually brokered to the commercialized cosmetics, body care, and hygiene products that are marketed to women. Prime example, all sanitary napkins are made from old newspaper and trash, period. They're pulverized, they're chlorinated, they make a pulp out of it, make it look white and pristine, put it back on the shelf. And what these women don't realize, that it's inflaming their endometrial lining. So this is what's causing the cramping and all these different things, because, and not to mention, it's giving off positive ions, and that is creating bacteria. So these women, I represented a company that was out of Lithuania, which is near Russia, and they came up with a mineral called the turmeric stone, and what it would do is give off the negative ions, and that will balance the pH level. But women, we their energy and their appeal is so much on the exterior instead of the interior. Okay,
I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, the makeup. If you look at, see, it's a free fall. This is the land of capitalism, so there's really no regulation of what they can and cannot put in shampoo, conditioners, lipstick, eyeliner, anything like that, like in Europe. If you went and purchase a product, the same brand in Europe or the UK, the product composition is totally different because they have a much stricter regulation over there what they can and cannot do. So this is why you see so many of our women developing breast cancer at a young age, endometriosis, fibroids, and that's and unfortunately the medical industry is not only invasive, but they're incompassionate to what our women are suffering with. And most women don't realize they're not educated enough to even educate their daughters. The earlier a woman comes on her cycle, like say women are coming on the cycle 8, 9, girls are coming at the cycle at 8, 9 years old, right? Well, that's a lot of estrogen you have to endure. So your risk of cancer is going to be much greater because you got to deal with that. And our women are drowning in estrogen, period. So how do you, and there are solutions out there. So again, the book was, basically was a more of a to get the message out there to women like yourself, and that you took a step to, hey, make a change. And if the vast majority of women would follow suit, we would not have this form of castration. It's all too well known in birth control. Our sisters are given a more toxic form of birth control than European hybrids or so-called Jewish women. A more toxic prescription. So our women are really, really suffering, and there's just not enough help out there, not enough education. You look at the obesity, and that's out there. Young girls, haven't even had children, and they're grossly obese. You didn't see that in the Soul Train days, back in the 70s. Women were slim and trim, so it's in the food, the women, the girls, the babies that are coming out of the womb, they're fed toxic food from the very beginning, on WIC. Let's see WIC help. The sisters buy something organic and be able to go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or whatever, or some other Asiatic owned and operated health food store to use that to buy almond milk, or use that to buy, something organic, and another thing about like veganism, our sisters used to have a wrong idea of what veganism actually is, and so they had that soy trend also. And what they didn't realize that soy basically weakened the tumor suppressor gene, which allowed cancer to manifest. I knew 3 women personally for 20 years that were all vegan. All 3 of them had triple negative breast cancer, and 2 died because they did not follow my protocol or what I suggested. So it's so I applaud you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I applaud you because it's when you have a beautiful woman like Dr. G and yourself that's out there, but it's still not enough. Our men need to be educated. There's a chapter in the book that talks about men. You need to be going to the OBGYN's office with her, to see what they're talking about. And it should be a code of ethics to not even allow the woman to be touched by a European male in that office. If she's not a sister, or at least a European woman. But again, it's a cash cow. Tell you a short story. I was at an industry show about 9 years ago. I was in an elevator. I was on the elevator with a naturopath and 2 other medical doctors that happened to attend the industry show. And I'm just listening. And one of the guys asked, he said, "Hey, how's Bob doing?" Or whatever his name was. He said, "Oh, he's doing fine." He said, "Yeah, give him my regards." He said, "What's he doing now?" "Oh man, he's living it up, man. He's performed so many hysterectomies that he bought a yacht."
Wow.
And more than likely those are our women. It's a cash cow. And it's like I say, just it's not enough of us disseminating the information. So again, I applaud you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we thank you. I thank you for popping on. I wanted you to. Someone says, "Can you please put your book name out again?"
Please.
Uh,
I need that ASAP.
Stealing a Woman's Treasure. It has some beautiful illustrations. I also dedicated the book like people like there's a sister Sharon McGee who wrote pocketbook monologues. Great book. Sister died of ovarian cancer at 51. You know, you look at all these Aretha Franklin. You go, there's a lot of illustrations in here, as you can probably see here. It's like Aretha Franklin in there. You see Minnie Riperton.
Beautiful.
Look
at that hair.
Simone. Yeah, Nina Simone.
All the women that you have in there, they all died of cancer or something.
They all lost the battle to cancer, unfortunately. Coretta Scott King, all these different people, because they will never bridge the gap between Western and alternative. That's the bottom line. Though Western medicine does have its place, okay, and some people will say, hey, if a woman has cancer, should she get chemo? Well, that depends, and because if you're able to combine the Western or traditional treatment with a adjuvant nutritional protocol, the outcome can be they can fare very well, and I've seen that in my case studies. And because I've had a sister that had one of the most gross forms of cancer, and she was, it was a very grim situation. Her prognosis was very short, but she followed my protocol, and she was able to come through, and she's still alive right to this day, along with many other women who has followed my protocol, because breast cancer can be prevented.
Absolutely.
It can be prevented. Selenium. It's said by several other scholars. And don't take my word for it. Do your research. Selenium, in its natural form, can reduce the risk of breast cancer. And so there's again, our women just need to get more in tune to the internal health and the internal beauty. It's just like most women have candida, and they're in denial about candida, and they get
yeast infections, right? Yeast.
Yeah. Yeah. So they go and get, antibiotic. Yeast
I hear the commercials.
They go back again and get antibiotic. A few months later, several months later, it comes back again. So, again,
something's not working.
Yeah, it's not working. But I don't want to bash the OBGYN. They have their place. The obstetrician, all these different medical professionals have their place, and I'm sure some of them have good intent. But it's just unfortunately that the nutritional science of health was not in the academia, because it's the business of disease. It's not healthcare, because if it was really healthcare, they will be encouraging women to prevent. Hey, take some selenium, take vitamin C, take vitamin D. It's disease care, but it's not sexy. So they call it health care, So it's like health assurance. You have all these people that pay. I have a senior client of mine. I sat down with her maybe about a month ago, and she shared with me that she pays over $800 for insurance. And she said, "Oh, you think that's high? I have a friend of mine is paying $1,600. And she pays it every month." I'm like, wait a minute. For $700 a year, you could practically prevent any disease on the planet. $700 a year as opposed to $800 a month.
Come on.
But people don't think about health assurance. We have to start really using our high science of intuition and critical thinking. It's just like the corona. It's like you got people wearing the mask. It's like, wait a minute. I travel all over the country, okay, and I see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on Skid Row. I'm like, wouldn't there be ambulance picking up dead people every day if this was actually a contagion? I'm like, something's wrong with that picture. But you see people that work 9 to 5, have a roof, have 3 hot meals a day, roof over their head, a car, nice clothes, and they're passing on. But you see people that don't have access to proper hygiene, proper food, same clothes every day, same cover every day or whatever, sleep on concrete, and they'll walk around. Same people I saw last year that's on the street, still kicking it. So something's wrong with that. People were not using common sense. Like, wait a minute, if this was a contagion, you'd hear sirens every day picking up a dead body. We got to start thinking.
It is, yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on in such short notice.
How can we get that book? I need more information on that.
To get some more information, I want to give a shout out. I can see out there also in comment land. I see Brother Dave Levi Bay is out there. We have to get y'all both on there. Back on here.
Phenomenal brother. Phenomenal.
Yes, right.
He taught me some things the other day.
I appreciate you both. I'm going to bid you farewell and thank you for popping on for the show. And so we'll get the information out for acquiring. Is it still in print, or I mean, are you reprinting?
Yeah, it's going into a second print. We reduced it. We reduced the book by like 48 pages to make it easier to read, but there's more illustrations in the book. So we decided, so it's going to go back into print.
You said you reduced it by 48 pages. You didn't reduce it down to 48 pages.
By 48 pages.
Because how big is the book? How many?
It's about, right now it's like at 254 pages.
Okay.
It was at over 300. It was 348 before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a bit more than that. It's actually more than 48 pages.
Yeah, as soon as it's available, please let me know so that we can make it, put the information out as to how women, how we can get it. Men and women. Women should get it for themselves, and men should get it for themselves, their women and themselves, so they can be educated
and their daughters.
And they're right So
I have a question. Quick question.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned earlier, you said something about Soul Train, right?
Yeah.
I used that example as well when it came to men, because I had male clients as well, with braids and locks. And when they started losing their hair, I also looked into what that was all about with the DHT. And I remember I was saying on Soul Train, while the men was like in their 60s and 70s, they had a full head of hair, what's going on? Have you looked into that? I looked into it a little bit. We got
to talk to Grand Sheik about that. He's got the secret.
Clearly. You're right about that. I'm gonna make sure I do that. Thank you. I just wanted to bring that up too.
Oh wow! Look, that's crazy. That's crazy. Look, my hair is going crazy. I don't know. I don't know which way to turn it.
Your hair looks great.
Right now I'm turning it every which way, but which way it's supposed to go. I don't have the little curls that I normally have, and so I'm trying to like spaces. And
you look fabulous.
We'll fix it. Hey, look, I'm 65.
You look fabulous.
You look fabulous. You look fabulous.
I can have one of those days anyway. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Peace. So anyway, but yeah, that was, it's just the information is out there, and we have to get our people to a place of wellness. I saw, I didn't write this because we're creative, but I saw this, and it said, even when I is turned to we, right, illness becomes wellness.
Come on.
So which is true. If you take the I from illness and put we in front of it, it becomes wellness. So we have got to work together to heal ourselves and our community, physically, spiritually, financially. Everything that we can do can be done cooperatively if we work together. What is that? I'm trying to
Queen of Four.
Oh, okay.
Heal thyself.
Oh, okay.
It has everything from great fast, and for the man and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I definitely recommend to women all the time. She has the Sacred Woman as well, but we're talking about healing more specifically. And this is a good one that I recommend for women if anyone's watching.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just, looking into, like I said, health and wellness. And I highly recommend the scanner, the AO scan. Like I said, I know what we can and cannot say about what it does. So all I can say that is an energetic tool that you should have in your toolbox for you and your family. That does some amazing things. Now, they're not healing things, but energy is amazing. I mean, since everything
really is.
The thing of it is with energy is that everything has its own energy signature, and because it has its own energy signature, they were able to map out, say, what a healthy kidney is, what a healthy liver is, the energy of a healthy kidney, the energy of a healthy liver, and so forth. So all of that stuff, I wanted to put this back up for that. So they map that out, and they're able to test it against, or check it energetically against yours. So if yours is resonating some different way energetically, then it's out of sync. So they can send the energetic signal to that kidney or to that organ or to the blood or whatever, and in many cases balance it.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is. It's out of balance in many cases.
That's right. Optimizing frequencies to balance, the body. And Absolutely. This technology is back to like what they call it, Royal Raymond Rife or whatever, and Tesla, and the same technology that makes the med beds and so forth that they're talking about generating, organs and doing regenerating and stuff. It's the same technology.
I actually, my website will be back up this week, but I have on Experience Black TV a playlist of different meditations that I've used to describe exactly what you're talking about. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I have some meditations that do exactly what you're describing that have worked for me. For instance, I don't usually get headaches or anything, but there has been a time when I found myself recently with a headache, and I put on the meditation that was specifically, for that, and just sat still, drank some water, and it was gone.
I mean, it's and energetically, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you can do some things with your mind. It's like I'm a Reiki practitioner or energy worker, and so for me to do distance Reiki at 3:30 in the morning on the young man is somewhere. I don't even know where he is, where he domiciles, but I know that with intention and I had permission of his father. His father asked me, and I said, "Do I have your permission to do it?" And so, on behalf of his son, I was able to send that energy. And whenever I'm led, I'll go back and I'll do more. I'm waiting to hear back from him just to see how he's doing. But whenever energy is just it has no barriers. It has no barriers. Like love has no barrier. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I said, like love, there are no barriers when it comes to love. When you send out that love and that kindness and so forth, a person can feel your energy. You can feel, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been around somebody and said, ugh, you feel the energy. You walk into a room and it's just like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can hear. And then you realize who you are, and you become that, like we say in more science, standing on your square. But if you hold your ground, if you will, and just begin to radiate love, you can transmute a negative situation.
That's all I do.
Into a positive. And
literally.
Yeah. And it's important. It's invaluable. I just want to see if there's any questions.
And I also believe that's something that people should know, that they're capable of doing as well. It's not like, yes, we are, magical, and the things that we came here with, our natural gifts that we came here with, but through discipline and taking care of your body, your temple, where you're able to pick up on the energy and move it around, we're all able to do that.
Right. And we can, and we can, and you can be diverse. You can hear, if you still believe in, the church and all of those various things, you can do that and be spiritual also. I mean, because I know
you don't have to do one or the other.
That's right. That's what I'm saying in diversity, because I met a pastor who told me that they are a Reiki level 1 Reiki practitioner. So I assume that this pastor uses Reiki at the altar,
And the thing is, excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
The thing is, a lot of times we don't realize that we're doing the same thing. We just have different terms. We identify it as something different,
Yeah, like a prophet or prophetess, psychic.
Come on.
Prophetess.
Exactly.
Psychic. Doing exactly
energy reader.
It's actually called the diversity of gifts, because there is a diversity of things, but there's like the source it doesn't change. The source of all life is what it is, whether you call it a zillion different things.
And I have a prime example. I've recently, within the last, I'll say, couple months, been more connected with the Nation of Islam, and their teachings and everything. So I've, been just connected and paying attention to the present studies of what's being taught presently, not like necessarily just the old stuff. But I'm also connected with a specific church, in Atlanta, because I appreciate they're actually doing the work. And, outside of the church, when COVID was happening and everything, they were still, feeding people and just taking care of people. So that's what it's all about for me. All the hallelujah and like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But that's not what it is for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing that up because I literally hear the same messages. They're saying the same thing in, they're different in language, but they're saying the same thing at the same time. And it's also the same message that I had gotten a day or two prior, but there's no connection. We got Christians, we got, Muslims, and we got little old me here, and we all picking up on the same energy and delivering the same message.
That's right.
At the same time. What is that?
That's the way the universe works. That's why a lot of times they talk about how people will say, I had that thought. That was my idea. And somebody else comes out with it. You didn't talk to them. Somebody on the other side of the world comes out with that thing. And now you're mad. You all, puffed up because they came out with something that you thought of. But
exactly
within the ethers, it's a
one mind.
It's a whosoever will. A lot of times they said many people have showed up at the patent office on the same day with this to get a patent on the same project or the same invention because they grasped it from the ethers and got on it. And it's like, more than one person was coming about the light bulb and the this and that. But then there were those that took it even further. And then there were those that got things to a place where it was so far that then they took there were certain interests that didn't want those things to come forth because they would be free. People didn't want energy to be free. There were some literal people that said, if I can't put a price tag on it, then it doesn't belong out there. And, they've literally
that's a real thing.
Put a price tag on natural rights. Before you know it, people said, we'll have to pay for air. You know what I mean? We'll have to pay to breathe air. And so, it's important that we open ourselves up to the downloads that come in, because you might be the next, inventor of some type of technology, or you may bring out something that's going to be the next innovative thing that we need to get us out from under what it seems that we're Absolutely. Finding ourselves under now. Because if you think, not you, but if we think that, we're going to get back to what we call normal. I like what Grand Sheik says to me. He said it was never normal from the get.
It wasn't. I'm like, what people think they fooling? Keep talking. I want things back to normal. What was normal about that?
Right. It was never normal. We got used to it. We got acclimated into it. And fell into the groove of it, but it wasn't normal. Until you find yourself.
It's happening because everybody out of balance and stressed out.
right. It was not normal. It was what we had been indoctrinated to see as being normal, but it was never normal. And I took a picture of my dog. He's blind, and he was under the love seat. He got the picture's like his head is under the love seat and his tail is like sort of out. And I captioned it, looking for a new normal. Like under the seat. You're not gonna find it. Well, actually, you will find a new one, but you won't get back to what was old.
And to be honest, do we really, really, really want that? In many cases, Well,
yeah, I don't want it. I want freedom. I want
freedom and peace.
I don't want to have to wear a mask on my face. I don't want to have to hear propaganda.
There you go.
And things to try to force me to conform to things that I know.
There you go.
Are meant for my demise. I said that good way of saying it without saying it. So no, those things I want. I don't want to be told where I cannot go if I have not conformed to a certain ideology or certain, because they're not telling you about all of the numerous ones who have succumbed as a result of their compliance.
Exactly.
And I don't want to be, I'm not willing to risk that. I don't trust that one iota. And they're never going to tell me, because I fall into the age group, that I have to do that. Because anything that I can't do as a result of my age without doing that, I won't do, or else I'll find a way to do, but I won't do that. I won't do that. I'm going to see my father. I made an appointment. My dad will be 89 on next Thursday.
Bless his heart.
My solar return is on Wednesday and his is on Thursday. And they put my dad in my dad was been in a nursing home for about 3 years, and they put him in hospice in August. August 17th or so. Well, hospice is short term. This is March. And Daddy's still here. I'm going to see him finally. I haven't seen him since November 8th, and I'm going to go see him on Friday. And I'm planning to take my trusty scanner and scan my daddy, so that now when I'm home, I can send him energy and so forth for different areas. Be my dad's been holding his own. You see what I'm saying? And I called and I said, well, do I have to I've had to have had the be vaccinated in order to come. And said no, because I would have just been, doing what I'm doing the Reiki from here. But they said no, I didn't have to. And guess what? I wasn't planning. I wasn't going to do it anyway. So all of a sudden now they're opening the nursing homes back up, and you don't have to have taken a test to go in, which I find is odd.
We can have that conversation often.
Oh yeah, we will.
I've gotten some uncomfortable revelations around that.
Yeah, well, and I know there's things going on, but I'm just saying, because I just prayed that he hold on and be here as long as he wanted to be here. You know what I mean? In spite of what anybody might say, giving him as a prognosis or diagnosis, he's a Pisces. Well,
say no more.
Yeah, he's a Pisces. So no, that has been, I believe, my energetic love going out to him, saying, I don't care what they say, you stay here as long as you want to.
Exactly.
I don't want him to stay here as long as I want. I want him to stay here as long as he wants. And that's what we should want for everyone. You know what I mean? What do you want? I want for you what you want for yourself. That's all. I'm trying to see if there are any more comments or anything here. But what's the best water to drink? I drink a mix between alkaline water and pure fruit. That was a question. Well, the water that I drink, this is an alkaline water, at least allegedly. But what I highly recommend is that you look up the shungite water, and you get the elite shungite stone. That's SHUNGITE. You can get elite shungite stones, the ones that you can put in for water purification it'll say water for purification jewelry maker. It's kind of shiny. I know back in the day, I'd purchased shungite, and it was the dusty one, you know, and it's like, am I making mud? But this is kind of, it was one large piece, and I was able to break it up. I actually have 2 jars that I fill. You fill it up. Even this with shungite, you could take tap water and let it sit in shungite for 6 or 7 hours or overnight, and it brings it a tap water to a 7.0. So if you're starting out with a spring water or something like that, but the beautiful thing about shungite, or what they say about shungite is, it begins to do a lot of things that, you would need medical assistance to do. But it's for me, this is what I do recommend. And you can get the shungite stones from Amazon. The first time I got shungite was years ago. I got them because they only come from Russia. Okay. I bought them from Russia. It took 3 months via airmail. Wow. I was like, was it a carrier pigeon flying in the air? But it took 3 months, and it was very expensive to get the shungite. Now shungite's over here. So excuse me, that's what I recommend. I drink some water. You know how you get that little tickle in your throat? I must have talked myself into a little tickle. Thank you, Knee Relief Chronicle. I like that. Love your show. Thank you. Check one's alkaline level. Yeah, Elder Dr. G. Yes. Let me see. Movie Total Recall. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but it must mean is there something in it.
I've heard of that movie before.
D. Brown Bay. I'm gonna put up right now the banner. You're asking about the scanner. I'm going to put I'm gonna put it up right here. And it's shop.solexnation.com/Dr. G. But if you want information before you do that, or if you want a link to come to one of our presentations that we do on Thursdays, call me at 302-345-0500, as you see coming up there, and I will send you a link, or text me. You don't have to call me. You can text me. And if you want to hear more about the AO scan, we have a Thursday Zoom call. Anybody, just text scanner. I'm always telling them text invite, text USB, but here we go. Text scanner to 302-345-0500, and I will send you an invite to our Zoom presentation that we have at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. It's every Thursday. So you can, if you can't do it this Thursday, you can do it next Thursday, and you'll be able to see what it does. Let me see any more comments or questions. I'm dealing with that personally. I always have to put up a fight to see. Oh, your brother in the nursing home. Yeah. I have a brother. My father and my sister. I posted my sister's solar return was the first. And
oh, you got Pisces all over the place.
My daughter's solar return was the first, and she transitioned at a very young age. And my grandmother's solar return was the first. So mine's the 17th, my dad's the 18th. So, yeah, there's a lot.
That is interesting. That's a lot of Pisces.
That's a lot of fight. That's a lot of things in this sea. Yep. But yeah, so Delaware just opened back up for nursing home visits. And my sister, so now I'm going to see about getting an appointment to see my sister. My dad has Alzheimer's, but my sister had an aneurysm. She's 5 years younger than me, and she had an aneurysm that put her in the state that she's in. But the beautiful thing about it is, she doesn't really talk much or anything, and she's a Pisces. But when you see her, you can tell whether she's happy or sad all by the way she looks at you. And they weren't wearing masks. It's just her. You know how they say the eyes have it. If I hadn't been there for a while, her eyes would kind of look at me like, "Where you been?" It would all be with the eyes. Or when she was happy to see you, her eyes would just light up like, just like candles. She was just happy, just see it, so, but my sister and my father are in 2 different nursing homes because my sister needed specialized care that the one that my dad is in didn't offer. So unfortunately, they're in two different ends of parts of the of Delaware. But nevertheless, since it's open back up, I will be out there to see her too. Greetings, Dr. G. Question for Marissa. What is the biggest concern? This is from Nathan Jacob. Yakub. What is the best concern for your male and female clients regarding their health concerns? Well, I guess what is the biggest concern? What do your clients normally, male and female, have as their main concerns?
Well, with hair, it was mainly male pattern, balding, pretty much. Hair loss.
Okay.
Was a common thing. But the thing for me was the cause of the hair loss, not just covering it up, trying to figure out, get to the root cause of it. And one thing that I found, a common theme was like blood pressure medicine. I noticed that a lot of, the women, first the texture of the hair started changing, mainly like in the crown, and then I would see thinning.
Thinning like right in here, like me?
Blood pressure medicine was what caused, a lot of that. So texture change, thinning, and like the scalp, the texture would change of the scalp as well, not just the hair. But I would notice like the follicles or roots, they kind of looked like they were just closed. There was no opening there for the hair to grow out. Mm-hmm. So that was a common thing that I saw with women. With men, it was kind of your traditional male pattern balding, either around the front and whatever pattern, it's different patterns, for different men. But dihydrotestosterone, DHT, it's the cause of that. It's a buildup under the scalp, which blocks, the follicles, from being able to produce hair strands.
Why does it happen in just like say in the front, or as opposed to all over? Or sometimes you'll see it like right down the the middle, and all they have is the sides or whatever. I mean, is there a way that they can? Is there anything that they can do to reverse it?
I had clients that, from the research that I've done, saw palmetto, SAW. PALMETTO. That's a natural.
That's palmetto, the herb.
That's something that I would recommend, to my male clients if we started seeing that going on. And I had, some that listened and were consistent with it, and we seen improvement. And then I had others that wish they would have.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And then of course, you all, there's Brother Dave and Dr. Botanica and Brother Dave Levi Bay, who are regulars on the show, and they have, different, have various information too. So, there's, you just have to,
I feel like it's hormone related though, for the most part.
For men and
that
women,
comes from our diet and lifestyle.
For the men and the women, men as well as women, hormone related. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, you stopped eating meat, right? Or not much.
For the most part, I did for a few years, and then I was trying to get my weight back up, so I introduced gradually. But I'm selective,
Right. I'm less than you're trying to get your weight back up, and I'm trying to get mine back down. But so.
I was doing a lot of fasting,
Oh, okay. Well, a stylish diva wants to know if you have an IG account.
I do. I am Marissa Black.
Let me put that down here. IAMMA. So it's a 2 M's, I am, and then MAR. Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, let me say IG.
And I have a link in my bio in which links you to everything, every platform that I am on. And we talked about diversifying, not putting all your eggs in one basket. I've had some experiences because of, you know, the information that I share, with being censored on social media. So I'm on several different platforms, and my link tree is in the bio, and you can.
Oh, you have, okay. I have a link tree too. So let me create that. I didn't even put my, because I have a thing like now you can get to all Dr. G's at one place. So yours must, let's see, where's my thing at? Ah, man, I created that, but just give me, okay. Is it, I can't remember how it goes. Does it start with the link LINK? Oh,
LINKTR.EE.
I just did something crazy. I don't even know what happened. Okay. LINKTR.
I think someone just followed me.
EE. Yeah, Linktree. What is that right there that I just did? Oh my gosh.
.ee/experience Black.
Okay. Yeah, I have Linktree also, and that's very, very connect with Marissa. Okay, I think I got it. And here we go. All right, I just did something crazy. Let me move this back over here. I don't know what that is, but I don't want to try to get rid of it because I might get rid of the whole page. Is that it?
That looks right.
All right, so that's her link tree. And let me see. Let me get back up here with the comments. I just did something crazy with this. I don't even know what this thing is. Now it's making these little funny little. Okay, wait a minute. No, that's not going to do that. Okay, we'll do it like that. Are we still there? You all see us? Okay, let me see. And the fact they messed with the soy book name. Someone asked for the book that you recommended.
Heal Thyself for Health and Longevity by Queen Afua.
Okay, let me
the light
move it a little bit to your left. Yeah, there, a little bit more to the left. Oh, to the right. Yeah, there you go. Heal Thyself for Health, and lift it up just a little so we can see who's her. I mean, I know Queen Afua. All right. Thank you so much. I think we see that.
There's another book that I want that I don't necessarily have from Dr. Jewel
Pookrum.
Yes, Vitamins A to Z. Like way back in the day, that book was like $300 on Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah. But I've gotten some great information from that one as well.
So Nathan Jacobs said, thank you, Dr. and Marissa. My mother is 67 and is losing her hair at an alarming rate. I told her to stop taking her meds one at a time for a week, flush her system with water. I haven't taken the blood pressure medicine for about a month myself. And because I noticed not because of that, that's not the reason why I stopped, but I did notice when you talked about hair that, I wore locks from 2003 to 2002 to 2009, I think. And I had beautiful long locks, full locks, and my hair was thick. And I've been taking, in the meantime, blood pressure medicine. And it's like my hair texture changed, it thinned out. And I don't think I'll have the luxuriously, thick locks that I've had before. But then again, maybe I will. I want to say that. I don't have it right now, but I'm getting things out of my system.
Detoxing, yeah.
Right. So, I'm getting things out of my system. And so, you can't, I don't advise people to just stop cold turkey on stuff. Is what I did. And there was times when I laid my head I was on the pillow and I was like, I hear my blood running through my, I could kind of like hear the blood rushing through and I would think, is that my pressure or what? Wow. But then I would just, chill a little bit and get up and drink some water and so forth. And it would subside. And then now that I've got my AO scan, I have, I turn on the high blood pressure frequency or the hypertension frequency and just energetically wipe it away.
And we have herbs for that as well.
Right. But so I do that. Let me see. until she finds one of her eggs, blurry vision. Said they're attacking her with meds. It's difficult to get her to transition. Well, Nathan, I would just recommend that you get yourself an AO scan for not only use for your mother, but for you and your whole family. You can scan other people with this and put their profiles in. Matter of fact, with the scanner now you can scan your pets. They just upgraded the software this week. It came out. So my dog and cat will end up getting a profile on my scanner, and my dog is blind. So I expect to, help his eyesight and, some other things, with this. And you can scan them. You could check their, their whatever imbalances they might be having energetically, and just send them some frequencies.
It's funny you said that. I was actually going to go back and do the Reiki training for pets, for animals as well, because there's, I don't feel like there should be much of a big difference, but I'm curious to see because I didn't take the program.
Well, there was a lady years ago who had a thing called her name was Linda Tellington, and she used to be on TV all the time, and it was called the Tellington Touch, and she worked with animals. It was Reiki. She just called it.
I told you the same thing. We just got different names for it.
Right. Tellington Touch is Reiki, but we actually have the stuff right on here. So it's like, just put have to take a picture. You can even do it for a dog, cat, horse, or other. So if you have like a pet snake, as long as you can get a picture of the snake and put it put the profile. If you know approximately how much the snake weighs and, when it was born or something, you put that in there, and then bam, send that snake energy, or send that ferret, that pet ferret or your parrot. I'm seriously, it'll send, and I have like a collar, and an ID that goes along with them that'll identify them in the system. I purchased a collar, and now they upgraded. They have an ID tag that matches the pet. And so they know when you put that number in that's Treasure, and he's a dog, and he's born, XYZ, and he's this way. And then it's sending the frequencies to Treasure specifically.
Very interesting. I'm looking forward to looking more into this.
Yeah. I would love to show
connecting the dots.
Yeah, I would love to show it to you. But like I said, I'm so diverse. I'm diverse, and so that's why I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I've been open to things, because I don't know how many things I would have missed if I was thinking, oh no, I can't do that because I'm already doing this, or I can't do that because I committed to this. I commit to no one but myself.
And I'm grateful that, I was born like that, because, I feel like if I was just focused on just hair alone and didn't look more into the health side of things, that I wouldn't have been as effective, with being able to help as many people. Like I've had women that, have come to me with fertility issues, and that they just shared with me just, client, hairstyle talk. And, they wanted to conceive or whatever and wasn't able to. And, although I don't have any children, I didn't have that specific problem, but I did deal with hormonal imbalance. And through that, the doctor wanted to put me on birth control for that. And I had already gotten in touch with Dr. Jewel Poopum and learned that ain't the look. So with that, I looked into natural solutions and discovered maca. I'm not sure if you're familiar with maca, but it's
like maca tea.
Yes, it comes in different forms.
It's green.
No, not matcha. I think that's the matcha.
Okay.
Maca is MACA.
Okay.
But it helps.
I think I have some of that. I just didn't know what to do with it. It's in a powder form.
Yeah, and you can get it tablet form as well. But I put it in my food and do things that helps to balance your hormones. That's what I took it for. But it's also good for fertility. So through my research, I remember seeing that, and I recommended it. And I had 2 clients that came back and 2 children.
Wow, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna tell somebody in my family that they need to try some. And that was the female taking that, or both of them.
But the man and the woman can take it.
Okay.
But I was specifically talking to women.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's good to know, because there are some people that are
there's multiple benefits.
Oh, okay.
There's definitely multiple benefits. But
also I found benefits in not hormonal, but just a good tea, and I've got big chunks of it, is the chaga mushroom. The chaga mushroom tea is so.
I haven't heard of that one.
It looks like little chunks. It looks like rocks because you can get it in powder. I found out I had it already in powder format when somebody told me about it, and I bought the big pound of chunks. And then I looked down in my 1,000 boxes of tea, and I had a bag of powdered chaga, and I was like, "Oh, I had this for I don't know how long, but it had never been opened." But chaga is the chaga mushroom, CHAGA, is an excellent tea to take for, it helps medicinally and does a lot of things. So teas are okay. So Nathan, I never say your name. Nathan Jacob says ask what you use on your hair. It looks very healthy.
Oh, this
She's
is mine. I'm natural underneath. Thank you for starters. This is actually runway curls. Okay. And I want to talk about runway curls. So it's a company that produces naturally textured hair that I've been researching for quite some time and fell in love with because I was looking for a hair texture that was mimic our hair texture in its natural state. Because, like I said, I work with women with hair loss, and I got tired of, the only options that we had were the European texture, the straight hair. I did it for a while. I wore the, straight hair extensions, but I got tired of it. I felt like I wasn't me. I like my natural hair, but sometimes I don't feel like doing my hair as much. We like protective styles.
Yeah, protective, yeah.
And I wasn't quite ready to lock. So right now I have my hair in 2-strand twist underneath. But this is runway curls. It's great hair. Look into it. They're all over the website. All over social media and everything. The owner, Mashia, she's in Atlanta, Georgia. She actually just expanded through COVID, where they're now making natural texture wigs. They're called baby naps. So you know how everyone's so excited about, the what is it, baby hairs? Well, now we have baby hairs that look like our natural texture. Okay. And she went to Haiti and are now staffing, women there to produce the wigs for us here. So it's a phenomenal story. I recommend looking into it if you care about the hair.
Now your next question about is there any natural remedies to toning down sex drive? I don't know if you know that, but I don't know if Brother Dave or Dr. Botanica are still on the feed, but they could probably respond to that. I don't know if you have any expertise in the tone down.
I have expertise, but with balancing hormones, I feel like, the maca, it helps with balancing.
So if somebody's overly stimulated, it would bring them to a balance. Yeah. And I'm wondering, again, oops, I got what do you call it? Things that are running, tones that are running right now for myself. But I wanted to see if there was anything on here for the question that was just asked. I'm just going to look. So we have a frequency for, let me see, sex, anything. Let's see if it's on here. Well, no, see, they have sexual weakness. So if somebody has a sexual weakness, there's actually a frequency for.
That's usually a more common question.
Yeah. So I don't know if that weakness means either side of because maybe what it does is balance it. Maybe it balances the sex drive.
So that's actually that's what I was saying. It has multiple benefits. So it's good for men and women for that purpose.
Right. But I'm saying we have a tone for that, a frequency for sexual weakness. So that frequency may balance, bring balance to, if it's a high sex drive, it may bring it down. If it's low, it may bring it up and kind of give it to some natural balance.
I think that's usually what the issues are when we're experiencing problems, with like our chakra system, if you're familiar with that. When something's out of balance, we have problems, whether it's high or low, and either side has its side effects. So it's usually just getting back into balance.
First thing I do for anybody that I do Reiki for is I use my pendulum, and even if I'm doing distant Reiki, and I check every chakra from the root, to the crown, and I see where it is, and then I do Reiki, and then I retest the chakras afterwards to see. And normally, 100% of the time, they're balanced, they're spinning in the right, they're spinning correctly after the I've given the Reiki treatment, and so I've seen that more often than not, that that energetically, so any more extra? Okay. Yeah. So, chakras are important, balancing, keeping them balanced, knowing, excuse me, I don't have it here with me, but I have a little booklet I put together because I did a presentation 2 years ago, for women. And I put together a card that actually not only shows you each chakra, but it tells you what each chakra when it's not in balance, what kinds of issues one might be going through.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it's tied to emotional and physical issues that you may not be aware of, like, oh my gosh, it's, that would affect that. And it
exactly. Exactly. I would say studying the chakra system was most definitely very eye-opening to me. Very eye-opening. Like this book here I have says Ancient Wisdom to Balance and Heal, and it's all about the chakra system.
Mm-hmm.
The healing comes in us getting in balance.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, time flies when we are having fun. Absolutely. And we've had a wonderful time. And I want to thank you for coming on.
I want to thank you for having me. This has been a phenomenal experience for my first time. My first time, and I'm appreciative that I was able to do this with you. Thank you.
Well, listen, we will connect offline, and since we're in the same town, there's no need, no reason for us not to, and to carry this further. And I want to say thank you to my kinfolk, y'all know who you are. Every last one of you, I'm not going to name everybody, but Sade and everybody else, Deborah and, Sam Banjo and Open 6 Foot, all you all, Ferial L. I'm talking about, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm calling out some and not all, but every last one of you all that is a regular, and Michael, Jordan, all of you that are always on here supporting one way or another. I just want to let you know that next week there will not be a Tuesday office hours with Dr. G. Okay. But I have been informed, I got a text from my sister, to Cynthia Ill out of Houston, and she will be hosting my 66th solar return online celebration on Wednesday, which is actually my solar return. So we will be doing the Tuesday night. On Wednesday night, it will be my solar return. I was going
to solar return.
Thank you. Yes, and here's what I'm going to do. I asked her, like, can we invite some of my kinfolk that are like regulars to come on and and be a part of it. I may not do like all the music and stuff I did for Grand Chic and stuff, but I don't know what she's doing because Cynthia's hosting it. But we'll be right here on Wednesday at 8 p.m. instead of Tuesday. So don't look for me on Tuesday, but look for me on Wednesday because that's actually my solar return. I will be 12, 6 plus 6. So, or 3, break it down to the least common denominator. I'll be one of those ages, whatever. So please make sure that you mark your calendar that we will be moving to Wednesday just for next week. Any last words from you, Marissa?
About the birthdays, I was doing the math. I turned 33 on March 11th last year. So I was turning 34. And I was saying 33 and 66 is 99. That's a common number that's been like, who cares? That's it.
You are, listen, one thing about me, like I said, I was telling somebody, I think I was talking to Brother Madudi, and we were talking about us born in the 50s, and another sister I was talking to earlier from Wisconsin, born in the 50s. And we said one thing about us, we were born at a time like, between 54 and 50, whatever, when I was here, we were born at a time that when we came in being able to reach back to reach forward and to stay in the middle, that we can, our associations are not locked into ages, that we can be, we can have just as much commonality with folks our age as folks that are, like you are my granddaughter's age,
Wow.
like my eldest granddaughter is 33, but she just turned 33. You're going to turn 34. And then, here I am going to be, like I said, 66 next week. And so but we can roll together. And,
absolutely.
And that was not always the case. It just takes certain special people, not necessarily Pisces, but people born, I think, at certain times for special, for times such as this, to be able to balance. And I don't know why I'm choking. I feel like I have coughed something. Excuse me, y'all. I think what I've been doing is suppressing a runny nose, and it was going down my throat, and it's choked me and tickled me. But anyway, that's nasty. Too much information. I love y'all. I will be here next Wednesday. Please come out and celebrate with yours truly. If you love Dr. G, then I want to see your face in the place. And some of you, if you want to come on, and you want, to say something, or, we want to, want them to know who you are, then please, give me a text. Again, you can text me. I'm going to put up my number again. I think you all know it, but you could text me and I will send you a link. I'm trying to see if I can find something. This one says, this says business opportunities, but that's not the number I want you. Please do not use that number. Ignore that number. That's my other number. But you all know my number by now. Some of you know my number. I'm going to put this up, even though it has nothing to do with AO Scan. See that telephone number right there? If you want to come on Wednesday, if you want to be a guest, like how we had up with Grand Chic, we had a bunch of folks up. Let me know. Just send me a text and say, yeah, no, Dr. G, I want to come on. And if it's a lot of you all, I can only have 9 on at a time. 8 on. I think it'll be Cynthia, myself, and 7 people at a time. And then we'll go through shifts. Hopefully more than 7 people want to come on there. But if not, the 7 or less, you can stay on during the whole show and we can just have a party. So thank you so much.
Fun. I'll be there.
I hope you come back and that you're a part of it. Like I said, I'm going to do a show with all my sisters. So I have sisters that I'm reaching out to, and be on the lookout for an invite to come on, because we have to do some work. But I'm probably going to do this one on Zoom. I'm going to do a Zoom presentation so a lot more people can come and be a part of it. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you again for having me. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to see the comments, but I'll check them online when I go.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have, everything was good. Truly love and appreciate you too. Love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And
thank you, everyone. Hope you found some type of value.
I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Because I was going to be on here just going like, I don't know what I was going to say to him, but thank you for being a part of tonight.
Thank you for having me. And I look forward to being in touch with you soon.
All right, then. Okay. Right. So
good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. So here's how we go out. Are you my next guest? Hope so.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, that's me.
Dr. G. Really? Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.
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 Dr. G. Really? Who's she?